Welcome back. So let's start with the coding. So our first thing that we have to do is to call the timer to move these picture boxes. So let's give the first timer. We look on the control toolbox, we drag and drop it onto the form. We take another one, drag and drop into the form. So inside our first timer, let's set it to a label so that label is equal to true, so that immediately we start the project, it starts reading. Okay, so double click on the timer and let's code inside the timer. So this timer will show that the first timer is to give us that immediately we click, immediately it starts reading. We should reduce the top by a certain number. So that certain number should be an integer. So let's reduce the timer. The first timer has to reduce the top so our first picture box dot top should be equal to any figure there minus the figure. So let's make it minus or equal to the 5. So another picture box, which is the second car, the top should also be equal to minus 5. The same thing applies to the third picture box, which is the third car. The top should also so the next also should be equal to minus equal to 5. Alright, so now we are reducing the top of the picture of all the 3 pictures by 5. So immediately we start the program, the timer has to read that and reduce it. So let's start and see how it works. So let's wait for it to debug, build. Alright, so you see the timer is moving the cars to the top. Now when it gets to the top, it will just be there, nothing will show. So the second timer has to identify that the 3 cars, either of the 3 cars has gotten to the top. So let's close it and go to our program, our second timer. So before we do that, let's go to the properties. Go to the properties and this game over, let's set the visibility to false. Total score visibility to be false. It should not show until game over. Retry to should also be false, and the out of the phone should also be false. Okay, so let's go to the second timer, which will identify that any of the cars has gotten to the top. So check if any car has reached the top. Okay, now let's give an if statement over here. Let's give an if statement to check the location. It's moving to the top, so it's moving on the y-axis. So we are checking if it has gotten to the top, where it might be 50 or there above, any number that you use. So we are checking using if statement that if picture box 1 if picture box one dot location dot y, which is on the y-axis, is less than or equal to less than minus 50, less than minus 50, or picture box 2 dot location dot y also less than minus 50, and that of picture box 3 dot location dot y also less than minus 50. So if it is less than minus 50, then if it is less than minus 50, now if it is less than minus 50, the cars, if it is less than minus 50, that means the car should not work, the cars will not move again. So we set the car visibility to disable. Let's disable it. So let's give it to be picture box 1 dot visible should be equal to false. So picture box 2 dot visible should also be equal to false. And that of picture box 3 dot visible should also be equal to false. So the cars will not show. So if the cars will not show, that means the game over must show. So game over, this game over. So this label, let's give a label, the name of the label to be label underscore game over. And let's give a name to total score to be label underscore total score. Another one also for retry. So the retry button also, let's go to button underscore retry. Same thing applies to the close. So button underscore close. And also a score. So label underscore score. Okay. So back to the code. So if the cast is disabled, then our game show, you have to show game over. So label underscore game over dot visible should be equal to true. And also we have to show our buttons. So button underscore close dot visible should be equal to true. The button underscore retry dot visible should also be equal to true. So now we are showing all this. And also show the total score. Show the total score. So label underscore total score dot visible should be equal to true. And disable score. So label underscore score dot visible should be equal to false. Okay. So after we're done with this one, now we're done with the counting. So let's try if it will work. So let's go back. So game over and the buttons are not there. So in order for us to hit on this one for it to get to the top, let's go under these two things. So when you click on the image of the cars, it has to come to its initial position. So let's go down right. So before that, you have to know the locations of every car, location of each car. So you click on this first picture, you go to the properties and you see location over here. So you copy the location, double click on the picture box. So when you double click on the picture box, now let's move the car to initial location. One click. So when the user click on it, the car has to move to its initial location. So let's give a picture box one dot location is equal to our new point. So the new point is the initial location. Then you paste the point over here. The same thing applies to the second picture. Second car too, you have to copy the location, the initial location. Then you double click on it. You give it also a picture box to the location is equal to our new point into Backend. Then you paste the new points over there. Same thing applies to our third car. Let's copy the location. So you click on it. Then picture box 3 dot location will be equal to our new point into brackets. Alright. So immediately we click on it, it will move to our new point. So it will move to at the initial point. So let's debug and see if that also works correctly. Okay, so let me click on it. You see, okay, so immediately you click on it, it will come back to the initial location, and as soon as one gets to the top, it will alert game over. Now there's no scores, so immediately we click on it, it has to give us a score plus the interval, maybe 5 or 10 or 100, so that it will get counting more as soon as you click on it. So game over. Then you see that you will try or request it. So let's also code behind these two, but before that, let's do away with the scores. Let's do away with the scores and also the speed of the car. So if there's, so let's do away with the scores. Okay, before that, let's do away with the scores. So let's, because you'll be using the scores in the whole project, let's create a global variable so that we can use it everywhere in the program. So let's then score number as integer. So it's a global variable, you can use it anywhere. So this variable, as soon as we name it, we create that variable. Instead, because it's an integer, it's set to 0. So when you click on any of the picture box, it has to add +5 to it. So let's say our score, so our score number should be equal to score number, what is in the score number, plus 5, and this is the same as score number plus equal to 5. It all works. So you see that you choose any of it, but we prefer this since it is very simple So let's copy it and paste it in this one too, and also paste it into the third car. So immediately we click on it, so now when you click on any of the but before that, since we have set the scores to 5, let's set a label. Oh, already ran it. So let's set the label underscore scores dot text should be equal to our score number. Should be equal to our score number. So, and that one also has to be pasted under all the pictures. So copy this one to this one. So immediately we click on it, it will add +5 to the scores, and it will display inside the label score, which is this one, the one down here, to display here. Okay, so let's concatenate it using score. So this ampersand means concatenation, adding a string to a variable. Yeah, so for it to display in a readable way. So the same thing applies to this one too. Okay, so let's run it and see how it works. Okay. So as soon as we hit on it, it will add +5, +5, +5, +5, +5, +5. And you see, the game is very slow at this point. So you cannot play it just like that and be in this slow motion. So immediately your score gets to, let's say 100, the speed should increase. When you get to 200, the speed should increase. So we will do an if statement that will use to check on the scores. Depending on the scores, then it will increase the speed of the cars. So let's look on that. So let's wait for a game over. It's a game over, and the game over to immediately the game over comes, the scores now here should also appear here. So in that case, let's go to where our game over shows this place. So immediately it shows our label, which we have set to true. Label dot total score dot text should be equal to, let's do the concatenation, total score ampersand label score dot text. So it will show the total score, the scores inside total score when it is game over. And also let's do away with the speed. So doing away with the speed, let's create a method. Let's create a method called speed. So create a method called create a method to check the speed. So sub speed. So this is how you create a method. It's either use public speed sub. It's either use public sub speed or use private sub speed or use just have speed. They are method. So let's go and check the scores. So checking with the scores, check scores. So if label score, so if our score number is greater than or equal to 100 and the same score number is less than or equal to 200, and so how do you determine the speed of the car? The speed of the car is determined by the interval of the timer. So when you come to the properties over here, you see the timer is 100. So the higher the timer value, the slower the car moves. So the lower the timer value, the higher the speed of the cars. So this is 100 for the initials. You can make it, let's say 80 for the initial, so that you reduce it so that the car moves very faster. So here let's check. So if it is in between this one, then our timer one dot interval should be equal to 70, reduce it by 10. Else if our score number is greater than or equal to 200 and our score number is less than or equal to 300, then our timer one dot interval should be equal to, let's say, 60. Else if score number is greater than or equal to 300 and the score number is less than or equal to 400, then our timer one dot interval should be equal to 50. So else if our score number is greater than 400, then our timer one dot interval should be equal to, let's say, 30. And then we reduce this to 40, we reduce this to 50, then we reduce this one to 60 so that it moves very fast. So this is the speed of the car. So where should the speed of the car be? So immediately, so we have to implement our speed, and the speed has to be implemented into the timer one, since the timer one is the one reducing the top. So let's do timer one to be implement speed method. So it's just simple, give a speed. So we just implement it by just stating the speed, and it will check on that. So, and also let's make the label score dot text also should be equal to our scores that we stated here. So then immediately it is checking, it will be to also be displaying. Oh, I think it's already there, so displaying. Yeah, so let's run it and see how we can go about that. So okay, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 25, 45, 50, 55. Yeah, so let's reach 100, the speed moves a little bit faster, and when it reaches 200, it should also move a little bit faster. Okay, so what of 300? So let's wait for it to reach 300. Okay, so 300 to move a little bit faster, but it's still slow. So let's make it very okay. I think there is some error here, so let's resolve that inside timer 2. Okay, it should be equal to our score number instead of the label. So let's make it a little bit faster. Make it 50, 40, 20, 20. Okay. And also let's make the initial also run 70, so that it will be able to make the check. I will make it 80. Okay, so now let's run it and see how the speed will also be. Okay, now it's moving a little faster. When it gets to 100, oh okay, now it's moving like faster, a bit faster. And also when it gets to okay, so let's again reduce it for more speed depending on your machine processor, how it moves. So now let's code behind this close button. So the close, we use the close to close the form. So inside our close button, close game, inside close button, let's dim a variable called result to take our yes and no message box. The message box dot show into bracket. First one comes with the text. Do you want to exit? Comma. And this one comes with the title. Existing. Then the other one comes with button, our button. So button dot yes or no, comma, and let's give an icon. So message dot icon dot question. Okay. So let's use our if statement to check the yes or no. So if result is equal to dialog result of yes, then application exist. So if it is equal to no, application will not exist. But if it is equal to yes, the application will exist. And also retry. So retry is button. Retry. So inside our retry, what we have to do is to create a duplicate the form so that it will run again. So in this case, we have to hide the first form and then open a duplicate of the second form. So in order to hide the first form, use main.hide. Then let's dim another, open another form as new form 1. So open immediately. The first form has, the second form has to show. Okay, so let's try and see if it will work. And also someone might try to. So let's see how it's working. Okay. So let's get to 100. Okay, it's moving a bit faster. But I think my machine is running very slow because of some operation. Okay, so let the retry. Okay, so our total score was 05. So let's hit on close. Give us yes or no. You see that we hit yes or no. So no, it will not do anything. Yes, it will close. So let's give a retry. See a retry. It's moving a new form for us to continue. So as soon as we hit on a retry, it will hide the first form and make duplicate of the second form. Now what if someone tried to maximize it? It's all moved to a different location. So we have to disable the maximize so that it only be in the same form. So in this case, you have to go to the form design, then you make sure you click on the form, then you go to the properties. So use F4 to view the properties, and you go down to the maximize box, set it to false. So maximize box, what is this saying? From the modified. Okay, we have not yet closed it. Okay, so let's go to the properties and set it to false. In this case, you cannot maximize it any longer. So this is how it's gonna be. So let's try another one. So it's very simple to play around with it, make different interface, see how it's moving, moving very fast. Okay. Okay, so let's close it. The yes or no. Now when you try to maximize it, it will not take effect. When you try to increase the size, it will not take effect. So okay, so we can do it here. So let's give maximize also. So let's go to the properties, select the form, go to the properties over here. Now you will see a maximum size and a minimum size. So let's set it equal to the same size. So in this case, you cannot reduce the size and you cannot also multiply the size. So let's try that one too and see. Okay, so let's try to resize it. It will not resize, neither will it also decrease its size. So it's just static, cannot do anything about it. So that's all for this game. Very nice game that I hope you can practice it and make more designs of it and change the interface and maybe place the cars by some running animals, and it will be very interesting, very nice game for you to do. Nice one, you see, nice game, very simple, very simple. So play around with it and make it very interesting. So let me close it. This is my yes. Okay.